Gav, this question is, and quite a few people have sent it in. How would I know if my horse is tongue sensitive?
Gosh, you know what? You've got to be so perceptive when you're working with horses, because what you're always looking for is the one thing that's stopping it progressing to the next step. And the first thing I'm always looking for is, what is it doing with its mouth? Because tongue sensitivity presents itself in a variety of different ways. You'll find a horse sucking its tongue to the back of its throat, and it will very often in that instance gape. So you can actually see that. Okay. But the problem with the tongue at the back of the throat is it stops the breathing as well. So that's also an added problem with that tongue sensitivity. They might put the tongue out to the side of the bit. That's also a tongue sensitivity issue. Okay? And then they will also get their tongue over the bit, and you will look and see, and so many people think that a horse mouthing the bit is actually a happy horse. In my opinion, if it's mouthing away at the bit, it's got a problem with tongue sensitivity. Horses that don't have that tongue sensitivity are quite quiet with the mouth when they're standing doing nothing. So if it's continuously mouthing at the bit, it's one of two things. Check first for the tongue sensitivity, because it will be trying to put its tongue over the bit. That comes with huge problems, because the bit is then on the bars with no cushion. The tongue acts as a cushion.
Okay.
And you get these big cuts in the bars.
So that's going back to that mouth cuts and causes video.
Absolutely. And you can see the big gashes in the bit.
Okay.
The other reason it might be doing that is it might be uncomfortable with a saddle fit, or the other thing people don't think about, especially in polo, is they wrap the tails up and then they put electrical tape to keep it there. Some horses hate that pressure on their tail. Okay? And if that's the case, you need to go back to an Argentine type knot that is not using tape. So look for those things. Are the bandages, are you bandaging and putting bandages on your horse's legs too long before a game? Because that causes the pins and needles. That should be the last thing you put on your horse. Okay? So look for those reasons first. Medical reasons, anything else that's causing that horse stress. Is it perhaps barn sour, which we've covered in a different discussion? Okay, all of those things make a horse nervous, and it will chomp at the bit. It's such a... everybody talks about a horse chomping at the bit. That's a nervous reaction. Okay? So
that's not necessarily tongue sensitivity.
That's the point.
So you need to isolate that issue of that. Is it actually a sensitivity problem, or is it because the horse is
That's exactly
in
what I'm
pain,
saying.
irritable?
So look carefully at the mouth.
Okay.
And also those horses that are tongue sensitive. What I'm finding lately, and it's so interesting, is that you can use like a Don McCarty mouthpiece, which takes away the tongue pressure, and the horse will still gape if you're using either a gag, rope gag, or a 3-ring gag. Where when you use the pillar cheek piece with that mouthpiece, so many of those horses don't gape anymore. So all of those little things, but be aware of what the horse is doing with its tongue.
Okay. And just going back to that original question, how do you work out if a horse is tongue sensitive? It goes back to what the horse is doing with his tongue. Am I correct in saying that?
Visually, yes.
Okay.
And also, from the feel of the reins, horses are often ultra sensitive, because the bit's on the bars.
Okay.
And people say, yeah, but the horse has got such a lovely mouth and it's so sensitive. And in 10 or 15 minutes, the horse has now got a hold on the bit and it's totally dead in the mouth.
Okay.
Because it's trying to deal with the pain.
Okay.
So it's trying to protect itself.
Okay.
So that oversensitivity, the minute I feel a horse that's so oversensitive, I'm not looking to go to a milder bit. I'm looking to check what is happening with the tongue.
Okay.
If that's not the problem, then I'll start to look at what bit I've got in the mouth. So be very careful that you're isolating that problem and that you know what you're looking at.
Okay.